Burner TV network on ZingoTV channel 250. Please remember to download both the Barnburner and ZingoTV apps in their respective iOS and Android app stores. While you download, please make sure to rate and leave a comment, and remember both apps are free. Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nathan Fernandez, and welcome to another edition of the Bundesliga Back of the Net. My mistake. That was a bit of a mistake. We just had the O Canada Soccer Show actually 5 minutes before, and we were joined by the man himself, who's back again for another week after missing last week with midterms. Stivian V, it is so great. I'm so happy to have you back on the show, man. How are you doing?
I've been all right, man. And of course, if you haven't seen the show previous, I am wearing this jersey in remembrance of Maradona. To give a quick recap, he's done amazing things, especially taking Argentina to a World Cup, especially with the team that he had, and of course, making Napoli the team that it was. Some of his big accomplishments, to be honest. And yeah, rest in peace for him. And thank you for inspiring a lot of us.
Yeah, yeah, of course, a legend like Maradona, and like we said in the previous show, like our condolences go out to his family and his friends, and I would say everyone mourning for him. Like we talked about before, how in Argentina, where there are millions and millions of people who are flooding the Argentinian capital, and trying to catch a glimpse or say final goodbyes, and it just goes to show you how connected the soccer world really is, how a sport can bring together people from all over the world. You had not just soccer fans, you had everyone on social media and on the news, like paying their respects to Maradona, because he really did bring people together. Anyways, Vivian, moving on from that really sad news, we decided to do something fun last week. Actually, we started giving our predictions, and we were going to kind of turn it into this game or competition. So let me just go through the scores from last week before. So Bayern Munich versus Werder Bremen. That was a big game. We both thought that Bayern Munich was going to win that. They ended up drawing against Werder Bremen. Hertha versus Dortmund. Dortmund with a dominating performance, winning 5-2 over Hertha. Borussia Mönchengladbach and Augsburg. That was another surprising game because Mönchengladbach expected to win. They ended up only getting a draw, 1-1. Leverkusen against Arminia Bielefeld. Bayer Leverkusen showing their dominance against the newly promoted team, winning 2-1. Schalke again losing to Wolfsburg this time, 2-0. Schalke, something is, I don't know what's going on. They need a new team, they need new management. It's just not happening for them.
They need a miracle.
Yeah, of course. Hoffenheim and Stuttgart, that was another surprising game of how many goals were scored. It was a 3-3 draw. Normally, that's a game you kind of peg to be like a 1-0 or a 1-1. You don't expect them to score 3 goals each. Eintracht Frankfurt against Leipzig, this was another big game. You thought that Leipzig were going to take this victory easily, but it ended up being a 1-1 draw. I guess now Leipzig is starting to feel the pain of losing your goal scoring machine in Timo Werner. The next day, this is the Sunday, Freiburg versus Mainz. Mainz beat Freiburg 3-1, and Cologne losing to Union Berlin 2-1. So some very surprising games and results that past weekend in match day 8.
Mm.
And Vivian and I, we actually, based on our guesses, we both ended up tied on 5 points each, meaning we got one exact result right, and
Mm.
and we also got two, like we guessed whether it be a winner or loss, but we got a bunch of zeros, which like for just not guessing the result. Like our point system, how it works is 3 points for correct result, like exact
Mm.
numbers, 1 point for either like guessing it would be a win or a loss, and then zero if you
Logo.
get the thing completely wrong. So
Right,
Fabian,
right.
I'm just gonna like now I'm gonna take your predictions for this week, match day 9. So Fabian, first game of the week, Wolfsburg versus Werder Bremen. What is your prediction?
Well, based on it, we see Werder Bremen absolutely put a shock and going to get draw against Bayern
Bayern
Munich,
Munich, yeah.
and of course Wolfsburg comfortably beating Schalke. Well, I mean, is that really much of an achievement? I wouldn't say so, but based on, I'm sorry, no disrespect to Schalke, but you know, I do think that Werder Bremen has it with them. I'm gonna go for a 3-1 to Werder Bremen.
3-1 to Werder Bremen. I honestly, I think like Wolfsburg, they're not like they beat Schalke, which is not hard to do these days. But at the same time, I feel like in their previous results, they didn't do too poorly either. So I'm
Hmm.
gonna peg this down for a 2-2 draw. Next game, Vivian, Dortmund versus Cologne.
Dortmund versus Cologne. Oof. Um, that's an interesting one to be honest. I'll say 3-0 to Dortmund.
3-0 to Dortmund. I think I don't know. I don't think there's going to be a clean sheet. I think Dortmund they have their defense is not super solid, and I think there's a goal leaking in there somewhere. So I'm gonna stay with 3 goals for Dortmund, but I'm gonna say 3-1. I think Cologne is gonna score. Next game, Leipzig against Arminia Bielefeld. Um, Vivian, what's your prediction?
Ooh. Ooh. Um, I'm gonna go with the safe 2-1.
Two
2-1
one.
to Leipzig.
2-1. I think I don't know. I feel like Leipzig, like yeah, they didn't beat they didn't win their last game, but still they have the quality to beat a promoted team. So I'm gonna say a 4-2 victory for
4-2.
for
That's
Leipzig.
rare.
It's a bit out there, but still I don't know. I just feel like they have players like Emil Forsberg and what's that other guy's name?
Oh, Poulsen.
Sub, yeah, Poulsen, Sabitzer, Dio Upamecano. I don't know. I think there's goals in that team.
Mm-hmm.
Next game, Union Berlin versus Eintracht Frankfurt.
Ooh. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with the fringe guy, Union Berlin 2-1.
Wow, 2-1. I don't know. I feel like Eintracht Frankfurt after drawing against Leipzig, I feel like they're carrying a bit of momentum now, and I'm gonna give a 2-1 win to Frankfurt.
So 1-2.
So yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 1-2 basically. Next game, Augsburg versus Freiburg.
Augsburg has been the team. Um, you know what? Why not? Augsburg 3-1.
Oh wow, 3-1 against Freiburg. I don't know. I just feel like it's gonna be a really low scoring game because both teams can't really find the net that easily. Like they are, like even if they do win in the past games, they've been winning like 1-0 or 2-1. So I'm gonna peg this down to a 1-0 victory for Freiburg.
I'm
No,
surprised that
sorry, not
we haven't went for
Freiburg.
draws yet.
I don't know. There's some games coming up. I feel like there's some draws in there. Next game, Stuttgart versus Bayern.
Ho, ho, ho. You know what? Bayern has disappointed us last time with the 1-1 draw. They're gonna come out for blood. I'm gonna be gutsy about it. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a 5-0 win to Bayern.
5-0 victory. Wow. That's pretty wild. Yeah, look, Bayern came this midweek when they played against RB Salzburg. Midweek, they came out firing, but I still don't think that their defense is sure enough to prevent them conceding. So I'm gonna be do a 4-1 victory for Bayern. Schalke are taking on Borussia Mönchengladbach. What's your prediction for that?
Wait, who's home and who's away?
Mönchengladbach is home. I think, yeah.
Okay,
I think
okay,
so. Yeah.
okay. So should I go with the unimaginable? No, actually no, I don't think so. I think it's gonna be 3-2 to
3-2.
Mönchengladbach. Yeah,
You think Schalke is going to score 2 goals though?
it's gonna be a weird game, man. Trust me.
I don't know. I feel like Schalke they can't seem to find the back of the net. I'm going to say this is a 2-0 victory for Mönchengladbach. Leverkusen versus Hertha Berlin.
Leverkusen, Hertha Berlin. Okay. It's gonna be my first draw. I'm gonna say 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I'm gonna give Leipzig the winner in this one. Sorry, not Leipzig, Leverkusen. I'm gonna say 2-1 victory for Leverkusen. Last game of the match week: Mainz versus Hoffenheim.
1-1.
1-1. I don't know. I feel like you might be right at that. I'm gonna give it a 1-1 draw as well. So there you have it. Those are our predictions for this next upcoming match week. I guess we'll see what the points total is, and um, and I guess we'll reveal it to you guys later once the games happen.
Imagine if
Um,
it's another draw as well. Just like we all have equal points, and
yeah,
it's
I
like,
know that's crazy. Like the end goal of this competition is to have a winner and a loser. But if we go at this rate where we're both guessing the same results, what are we gonna do then if it's a tie?
if it's a tie, then we both do a punishment. Why
Oh
not?
my gosh. Okay, fine. That's a deal. So
Man is afraid that it's gonna be like some kind of spicy like bell pepper, ghost pepper, and whatnot. It's like,
yeah,
ooh.
honestly, yeah, that's what I was thinking because I can't handle spice, so that would probably be like my worst one. Yeah,
Wait, what? Okay, all right. I gotta question your parents and what they're making then at home. You need some
yeah.
spice in your life, my guy.
Spice in my life, yeah. Speaking of spice in my life, I feel like this is a pretty big topic to talk about, especially in the Bundesliga. Is with in the past a show we did in the Canadian soccer show, we talked about slumps. In the Bundesliga, there are so many players out there, big players, who people expect are going to be bought in the next few years, and for major transfer fees. You look at Jadon Sancho, you look at Erling Holland. You just think about the transfer fees like those kind of players would go through. And this is what I wanted to ask you. Say you're, I don't know, Manchester United, and Jadon Sancho and Erling Holland, who both people who you had on your target list, go through slumps of their own. Let's just say Erling Holland does not score. Like, hopefully he doesn't go through this slump, but let's just say starting next week he doesn't score for the rest of this season. If you're Man United, do you still go for Erling Holland, and do you still pay the price like over 100 million, or do you kind of negotiate and be like, oh, he hasn't had a great year, let me drop that down to like 80? Or do you think 80 would be a bargain because the next year he could go and score like so many goals?
Well, I mean, look at his form right now. He's still firing in it. Absolutely electric. And the funny thing is, if you saw his game against Club Bruges, he scored 2 goals, and it got subbed, and his manager was like, "No hat trick, bro." It's like I was asking the same thing. Where was the
Yeah.
hat trick? I wanted the points of my fantasy team. You know what I mean? Yeah, a little bit of tongue in cheek there, but no, I think he's definitely worth the money and everything. Whether or not United would go for him, that's another question. I mean, they're going for everybody here. Let's just be real here. Um, but yeah, he's definitely worth the money.
And but what about Jadon Sancho? Say Jadon Sancho doesn't have a great year. Would you still like? I remember in the summer this year, Dortmund were asking for like an outrageous fee of what were they offering? Like 150 million or something?
120 million.
120 million. Like that's an insane fee for one single player. So like what is the thinking behind that? Like do you go for a 120 million player and pay that fee despite knowing that they had a terrible year last year?
Well, let's be real here. I've seen Manchester United spending 80 million on Harry Maguire, so that just says a lot about how they didn't spend someone on Jadon Sancho, who actually has like, if you look at the stats and everything compared to his age, that is world class
Mhm.
beyond believing, especially when his age and everything. Of course, you're gonna want to pay that money, man. Like he's at least in that season, he proven that he can be a world beater, and he hasn't played as much minutes as compared to other people as well. When you put it into that contextually as well, so absolutely sublime of a player. And in terms of what his price is going to be, this year and everything. It depends on how he performs. If
Mhm.
he's still able to get a good output, let's just say like double digits on scoring and double digits on assist, for example. If he's managed to get that again, doesn't have to particularly be 16, 17 like goals and assists. Um, then yeah, he should still be like around that price range and everything. And once again, it's all down to like how the market is being put out and everything, right? So yeah, it's all really depends on like how everybody interprets the market and everything. So
It's kind of shocking because when people look at the soccer market, it's very, very inflated. Like you look at the talent we have now, yeah, they're great players, but say 10 years ago, they wouldn't even dream of crossing the 100 million line. Like you look at Bale and Ronaldo. Remember, there was that whole big deal of how Bale is the most expensive player of the year, or Paul Pogba is the most expensive player ever, and their transfer fees were like 70, 80 million, which is an insane fee. But then you add on to make it 120 million. I just want to ask you, as a fan, how does that make you feel knowing that these players are so, like, yeah, they're great players, but do you think that Jaden Sancho is worth 120 million?
Jaden Sancho, well, I mean, like I said, he performs to that level again. I mean, for his age and everything, according to this market, yes, but like you've seen other players where they haven't particularly proven themselves at that. Like you look at João Felix, for example. Yes, he had a brilliant season and everything, but did he really put those world class stats to really say that? Right, this is how much he's worth, 150 million, which is crazy.
Yeah,
I think that's way more crazier than Sanchez's fee that's spinning out now. And you look at other players like Harry Maguire. Was he really worth 80 million? I wouldn't think so. I mean, people can argue and say otherwise, but based on how he's performing now, it's not. So it really depends on. I think you have to look at, yes, you look at age, and if they, let's say they get more than what we would have thought, then yeah, I guess the value is high and everything. But we got to be careful of that as well. But if they do have a season at that age where they're like, they put those amazing world class stats and everything, then yeah,
hmm,
they do definitely warrant it, right? And you gotta know this as well. There's a lot of players that went more than what Cristiano Ronaldo went for, when he went to Real Madrid and everything, and that just shows, that people may don't know how to like waver like what's valuable and what's not anymore, right?
yeah,
Um, I think like now when you look at like who is like a world class, like a top player, people are gonna look at they're gonna measure it from like Neymar's purchase of 220 million, which is an absolute astronomical value.
yeah.
I don't know if that'll ever be topped at this moment in time, but yeah, that's scary to be honest.
Yeah, but like I'm just asking you now, like let's like remember how you said like Harry Maguire paid 80 million for him, and he people will say that he's not lived up to that value. But then you go in to look at, I don't know what Man United's bank account looks like, but I'm just thinking like, okay, you spend 120 million on Jaden Sancho. What does Jaden Sancho need to do so that you recoup those funds? Like you look at Juventus, and when they signed Ronaldo, they didn't sign him for a crazy fee. Like it was pretty high, but still manageable enough, I'd say. Like in and Ronaldo, the brand
Mhm.
that he carries, they were able to pay his fee off with jersey sales in like the next few weeks.
But you gotta remember as well his age as well, right? You gotta take that into consideration because he's aging and everything, right? He is gonna go for lower, right? Because his performance and everything, and that's what constitute those prices and everything. And to
Mhm.
be fair, for someone that's a hundred, like the age he was when he came to Juventus, that was a pretty high value to be honest as well, right? And I
Yeah,
think right now he is definitely proving it because we've seen it before that his fitness levels and everything are amazing, right? And he's still able to perform even at this old age. You look at Zlatan as well, right?
yeah,
What AC Milan got him for, like, what I think it was on a free, I believe,
yeah.
right?
He left LA on a free.
And look at him; he's performing absolutely. It just shows that it's like if you put a lot of dedication to your craft and everything, it can definitely be right. And even take those like little risk and everything on
Yeah,
older players and everything, right? So it really depends as well on the player. I think Jaden Sancho, it's like I would say it's in a business point of view, it's not a wise move. Of course, if he does have another brilliant season, then his value is just going to go higher, right? But
yeah.
let's just say he doesn't perform well in the next season, and then you're like, oh, I want to, you know, get him, then he doesn't perform. Then it's like, you made a bad, purchase and everything. And that's the thing with football fans as well. I don't understand why particularly they think that them buying such like a high, like the highest wage you do, that constitutes like a great player at the start, right? And
Yeah.
it's like if they don't work out, then they're gonna be, the people are gonna look at the price tag. It's like, oh, why did you pay so much, and criticize that, right?
Hmm.
But that's what I'm saying as well. So when I was looking at like some of the transfers and everything, and they're like, oh, we should get it for something cheaper. Like, I support Liverpool, right? I look at a price of a player for Thiago. I'm like, okay, let's wait and get a lower price. And people were criticizing, saying, oh, why are you getting for a little price? You know how good he is. No, but you got to look at what other factors, right?
Yeah.
Before making a purchase. That's just good business, right? And I
Hmm.
guess people don't like to do good business. They'd rather just chuck money like this, like, yeah, boy, I'm here. I'm the king. I have all this money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's why, like, people, when you look at teams like PSG and Man United, you kind of laugh at them a bit because you know that their money, all the money that they spent, hasn't really put any, I don't know what the word is, but food on the plate in terms of trophies. Like
They
PSG,
absolutely get, for a better choice of words, okay, because I can't swear, doo doo on, because they put these astronomical fees. That's why Bayern Munich absolutely laughs at them. They're like, "Oh my goodness, I don't believe this. You guys are purchasing this much while you can get this player for that much." And
yeah, but what I don't understand is Bayern's done a great job at this in the past few years. Is like you said before, getting players on a free. They've waited till the player's contract run down, or like they're probably looking at the market and being like, which player's contract is going to run up by next year? And those are the players they kind of pounce on. And I just don't see why teams like Man United and PSG, why do they rush for players like and throw these high fees at them when they know that they'll probably have a better chance of bringing the player later on once they've finished up their contract. Anyways, guys, that is all the time we have for today's show. I definitely feel like this is a conversation we should continue because it's a pretty big topic about inflation of the market and player prices. Anyways, Vivian, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, this show can be heard on the Barnburner Radio Network on all of its 122 platforms. Please check us out at barnburner.ca for all the sports news. Barnburner, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it.